This is the Makeup GLOSSary. Okay. Freaking flyaways, people. I can't deal with my freaking hair damage flyaways. They're more in focus than my face. I'm back, sitting on my bed, and the frame's just ever so slightly annoying me. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I posted my first video. Thank you so much for your patience and thank you for coming back. I'm not gonna lie, I already filmed this video and it didn't go very well. That's why there's been a delay. Excuses, excuses, excuses. We learn from our mistakes. So here we are. She's trying again. She is me. I want to thank you guys because you gave me so many amazing suggestions. I got really interesting questions that I never thought to answer because I've been doing makeup for a very long time and I don't really think about what beginners might be wondering. So some of the comments and the messages I was getting sparked me to ask, what are some confusing makeup words or terms that you've heard that you're not 100% sure what they mean? And I got a lot of responses. I'm going to do my best to explain some of these questions and these terms that I got in what I'm calling my makeup glossary. And this video is kicking off an entire beginner series. I wanted to start giving some information to the people that don't necessarily know what's going on so that they can learn how to follow tutorials a little bit better. I'm going to try to explain as best as I can based on my experiences. I'm not all knowing, I might get something wrong, and if I do, let me know kindly. I think that this channel should be a place where we can all learn. I want it to be almost like a makeup forum in the comment section. I want people to make suggestions. I don't want there to be any bashing or anything like that. But if you think something I said is inaccurate and you have better information or a different experience that you want to share, please share. The more the merrier. We're all gonna learn something. I'm open to learning new things. Like I said, I don't know everything. Most of these words were sent to me. Somebody out there doesn't know what they mean, and that's okay. You don't have to know what they mean. We all have to start somewhere, and if you're starting today with makeup with me, I'm honored. First of all, thank you for joining me, and I really hope you learned something. If all of this seems a little too basic for you, stick around. There might be something in this video that you didn't know before, or maybe you thought you knew what it meant, and you didn't. Anyways, enough chatting. We're done with that. Let's move on to the video. This is my makeup glossary. All right, first word, let's go. Beat. So beat's interesting because it's an action, it's a verb, but it's also a noun. So a beat is pretty much referring to your makeup. A beat is pretty much your face with makeup on. So you would refer to it like, yes girl, look at this beat. It's pretty much saying, yes girl, look at my makeup today. Or it could be like, I'm gonna go beat my face for the party tonight, which is just applying your makeup. It's slang. How it became a word for makeup, I don't know, but I use it a lot, I'm not gonna lie, and it comes up a lot. Anyways, you get it. Beat is makeup. Beating your face is putting makeup on. Like that. Okay. Blending. Blending is pretty much what it sounds like. It's blending your makeup out so it looks seamless, flawless, undetectable. It is probably one of the most common words that you will hear. The last thing you want is your makeup to look splotchy or unfinished, and blending just helps ensure that it doesn't look that way and that it looks nice, clean, and beautiful. So there's blending and then there's buffing. The only real difference, I guess if I really had to think about it, blending is kind of blending out makeup and making sure it looks kind of all spread out evenly. Buffing to me is applying a product. So if I'm saying I'm buffing on blush, it means that I'm applying the blush onto my face in like a circular motion. That's usually what buffing implies, some sort of circular motion. It's not that serious. It doesn't have to be that technical. If somebody says that they're buffing out their foundation, they're not wrong, but to me, if you really ask me what the difference is, that's what I would say. Blending is blending out your makeup, making sure it looks even. Buffing is applying product pigment on. Color correcting. Okay, so this one's kind of a trend, but not really. It is a makeup technique. In color theory, the color wheel, basically you're using color to cancel out another color. The most common one that I use, pretty much the only one I use, is using a reddish pink color corrector underneath my eyes to cancel out the blue shadows that like a dark under eye would give. You'll also hear about like green canceling out redness, but there's a whole bunch of different color correctors that I've never used on myself. I don't really typically use them on other people. The only one I really ever use is the Peachy Under Eye Corrector. I think that they just got a little extra with it to sell more product at one point because it did become a big trend. So color correcting, again, is using one color to cancel out another color. That's all I got. Tones. Okay, so a lot of times you will hear in makeup tutorials, cool tone, neutral tone, or warm tone. I will put some examples on the screen because I don't really know how to explain them as much as I know how to show them. Cool really just means cold. It means cooler, cool colors like blue, purple, green is technically considered a cool tone. Neutral is somewhere in the middle. And then warm is reds, oranges, peachier colors. They're warm. You hear this a lot with like eyeshadows, skin tones. Maybe you have a neutral skin tone, a cooler skin tone, or a warm skin tone. I think the best way I can show you is with 3 different brown eyeshadows. They're all brown, but one's more of a cool brown, one's more neutral, and one's more warm. Tones is something that you kind of get used to seeing as you use makeup more and more. Like you're able to identify whether something's cool, neutral, or warm. Creasing. So creasing is really just when your makeup gets kind of bunched up in the crevices of your face. Most common is under the eyes when concealer gets kind of bunched up in your under eye creases. Sometimes if you have really pronounced smile lines, your makeup will crease up in your smile lines. Around the nose is also very common. That's probably the most dramatic crease you have on your face. Creasing is just referring to your makeup kind of getting bunched up in those lines. It can also be your eyeshadow. If you don't set your eyeshadow with a primer, sometimes your eyeshadow over the day will start to crease into the folds of your eyelid. That's all it means. It's considered a bad thing. You don't want it to happen because it kind of reveals the illusion that you're wearing makeup, right? If you see a big line or big folds of makeup, it's kind of like, oh, she's wearing makeup. So you kind of want to avoid creasing because then it'll give away your secrets. Cut crease. Okay, cut crease is kind of interesting. It's an eyeshadow style, I guess I could say. It's when people kind of literally take either a concealer or maybe an eyeshadow primer and cut a line where their crease in their eye is. Make a really refined graphic shape. Usually they do metallic. It's a little advanced. I actually didn't even try doing a cut crease until like a year ago because I always thought you could only do it if you had a super refined crease already, and that's not true. It's just fun. If you like to mess around with your eyeshadow looks, maybe doing a cut crease would be fun for you. Maybe I'll do a tutorial down the line where I do one, but if you're not that into makeup and you're not that advanced, you really don't have to worry about what a cut crease means. You just might see it in a tutorial at some point. Kickback. Kickback is just the powder that kicks up from your powdered product when you dip a brush into it. So if you have a pressed powder, you dip your brush in it and you squiggle it around and a lot of powder comes up, that's called kickback. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes if somebody's reviewing a product and they get a ton of kickback, they're like, ugh, like I feel like I'm wasting so much product. It's messy. Sometimes when you try to blend it out, it like goes everywhere. So sometimes a product that has too much kickback is seen as a bad thing. Fallout is the eyeshadow that falls from your eye down to your cheeks while you're blending it out. That's also a bad thing. It can ruin your face makeup, especially if it's a bold color like a green or a blue or a purple. It's really hard to get rid of. To avoid fallout, a lot of times you can do your eyeshadow before you do your foundation or the rest of your face. So yeah, kickback is the product that kicks up in the pan when you dip your brush in it. Fallout is that powder that falls onto your face while you're blending out your eyeshadow. Halo eye. So a halo eye is, again, a style of eyeshadow. Basically what it is you're putting a darker shade on the outside of your eye and the inner corner of your eye, and then you're popping on a really dynamic, metallic-y, glittery shade in the middle, and it's giving the illusion that the eyeshadow is haloing your eye, making it super round. Works really, really well if you have very round eye shape. I don't typically do them. I can do something like it, but it ends up just looking more like a smoky eye than it does a halo eye. I will put some images up of halo eyes so that you can see them. It's just a style, something to be played with if you're really into eyeshadow, if you're starting to advance in makeup, in your makeup application. Don't be intimidated by it, but if you see a tutorial for a halo eye and you're a beginner, maybe skip it and then revisit it down the line. Highlighting. So highlighting was not requested, but I wanted to include it in this video because it can be a little confusing when you're talking about it in a tutorial because highlighting is used in 2 different ways. Highlighting can either refer to the step in your makeup routine where you're putting concealer under your eyes and on the high points of your face. What I mean by high points of my face is where the light literally hits my face first. So you see The light's hitting my forehead, the top of my cheekbones, my nose, my chin. You're putting a light concealer there to kind of bring that part of your face out even more and make it appear even brighter. And then there's the highlighting at the end of your makeup routine where you're putting like a sparkly metallic product on like your cheekbones. People put it on their foreheads, their noses. People put highlighter everywhere now, actually, which is totally cool. I'm down for that. So I wanted to talk about highlighting because it can be confusing. The only way to tell the difference between them is the context in which you're watching a tutorial or listening to a tutorial. If I say, I'm gonna highlight my face now with my concealer, you know that that's the step in my routine where I'm putting concealer on high points of my face. And when I say, oh, I'm gonna put highlighter on now, it means I'm putting sparkly metallic glitter on my face, just to be extra and fun and look glowy and fabulous. Hit pan. Hit pan just means that you literally are reaching the end of your product. You can see the metal pan through the bottom. If you have an eyeshadow, you'll see the little silver coming through because you've dug all the way down to the bottom of it. Not really a crazy important term. If you hear it in a tutorial, it probably just means that that makeup artist really liked that product and they used it so much that they got to the bottom of it. Root stamping. Okay, root stamping's interesting. I had never heard of root stamping. Somebody messaged it to me. I genuinely had never heard it before, so I had to look it up. Apparently it means just applying mascara and making sure that you're making it all the way down to the root of your eyelashes, which to me just means applying mascara. I don't know, it's a thing. Somebody heard it, they didn't know what it was, I didn't know what it was. That's what it means. Spot concealing. Spot concealing is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's concealing a spot on your face. I guess you have to specify the difference because now concealer's used, like I said earlier, to highlight the high points of your face. So if somebody said in a tutorial, okay, I'm going to conceal now, somebody might not realize that that means that they're concealing a pimple versus concealing their under eyes. But yeah, spot concealing is going in to cover up blemishes, dark spots, scars maybe if you have any of those. Tight lining. Tight lining is a word that I use. It just refers to going in with eyeshadow or eyeliner right underneath your lower lash line, and it usually just means you're trying to get a really tight specific line. You don't want it super blended out like mine is right now. So tight lining refers to that makeup application underneath your eye. Primer. Primer is something that you put down to prepare for something else. So for your face, you put a primer on your face before foundation to kind of prepare your skin, moisturize it, protect it, smooth it out so your makeup looks smooth. And even when you put your foundation on, you can put primer on your eyelids before you put eyeshadow on. It's really just to make sure you have a nice canvas for the rest of your makeup. It'll just help with the application process, and it'll also help make the makeup look way better and help it last. A spoolie. Spoolie, I love spoolies. They're very important for your eyebrows. I'm gonna insert an image of a spoolie because it's so much, again, it's one of those things that's so much easier to just show you. It's that wiry, round tool that helps brush out your eyebrows or even your eyelashes too. Yeah, way better to show you than to tell you. I really don't know how to explain a spoolie. Toppers. Okay, toppers are kind of interesting. So there's lip toppers, which is kind of a lip gloss. It's usually just a metallic-y sheen that you put on top of your lipstick to transform it into something else. Same thing with blush toppers. Basically just a really sheer highlighter that you put on top of the blush so the color still comes through, but maybe it's a little more of a sheen, maybe it's a little prismatic color shifting. Toppers were kind of one of those things that I think was just meant to make you spend more of your money. I don't think it was actually necessary. I don't own any topper products. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be. You're supposed to layer them on top of another product to change them, which I think is a little stupid. But hey, makeup lovers unite. If you're into toppers, if you're into products like that, do you have fun with it? It's not that big of a deal. Baking. Ooh, baking. I have such mixed feelings about baking. This was the absolute #1 most requested term that people didn't understand, and I get it. I totally get it. When baking first came around, I was like, what? Why? Why are you doing that? Basically, baking is powdering and setting your face, except what they'll do is they'll apply an excessive amount of powder and then leave it for a few minutes and it's called baking because it's apparently soaking up the cream foundation and making it pretty much industrial. I don't understand the difference between baking your face and just setting it normally with the appropriate amount of powder that you need. Another thing people use baking for, they put that excessive powder there so while they do their eyeshadow look, that excessive powder will catch the fallout that we discussed before, and they can just wipe all that powder away and they won't have to deal with fallout. But if that's something you're concerned about, you can just do your eyeshadow first, or you can hold a tissue on your face while you do your eyeshadow. I don't know. I think it's a little silly. I tried it when it first became a thing. I tried it in college and I just didn't understand the hype. Baking, more or less, is that technique of applying extra excessive powder, letting it sit for a few minutes, and then wiping it away. The whole point is to make your makeup last a really long time. If you have oily skin, it's supposed to make your face look more matte and stay matte throughout the day. I don't get it. I just think it makes your skin look more powdery, more cakey. So I'm not a fan of baking, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it or try it. Give it a go. Let me know what you think. I'd rather bake a cake, honestly. Any day, I'd rather bake a cake. Contouring. Contour is applying a product that's slightly darker than your face in the natural shadowy parts of your face to kind of give yourself depth. When you apply a bunch of foundation on your face, you tend to just kind of make it all one surface, kind of flat looking. So contouring is supposed to bring all those natural crevices back into your face. It can also be used to completely reshape your face. Contouring can be used in really crazy creative ways. We use it to define our cheekbones a little bit, make our noses look thinner, make our foreheads look smaller. Cream contouring was really popular. I don't like cream contouring. Again, it's something that I think just makes your makeup heavier. But yeah, contouring is bringing out the shadows of your face. Draping. No, we're not talking about curtains, we're talking about makeup. I know you were confused there for a second. Draping was a pretty short-lived trend. I think it was a lot more editorial. From my understanding, when I watched tutorials and somebody talked about draping, usually it referred to a cheek product application, either blush or bronzer. Yeah, it was just kind of a wash of color across this area of your face. They called it draping because they just wanted to. They made up a word for it. I guess it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, that's fine, because trends come and they go. Don't freak out if you don't understand draping. NonTouring. NonTouring is just a word that describes all of the other techniques that do the same thing as contouring, but it wasn't as heavy and difficult as contouring was. You could kind of say right now I use NonTouring. I don't have any contour on. I just have bronzer on the high points of my cheeks and some blush. It gives you the same effect. I look defined. My face has shape to it and depth to it, but I don't have that heavy application of brown under my cheekbones. So NonTouring isn't one specific thing. It kind of just refers to getting the same effect as contouring without actually contouring. Strobing. Strobing is a form of NonTouring. It's defining the high points of your face with highlighter instead of contouring. Again, kind of gives you the same thing. It's a little more natural looking, a little more bright. Some would say strobing is also another word for like excessive use of highlighter, putting on like all that really powerful glow. But really strobing was an answer to contouring, where it was kind of like giving yourself a facelift with glitter. Don't we all want that? Again, pictures to help me out with my lack of intelligent words. So that brings me to the end of that list. Again, most of these were suggested. Some of them I threw in myself. I couldn't think of every single makeup word in the world. There's a lot. If I missed anything, let me know and maybe I'll do a part 2 of this. Like I said before, if you don't agree with any of my definitions, it's totally okay. Correct me kindly in the comments below. We'll all benefit from it. This is the first of my beginner series. Next, I'm going to address types of brushes, brush shapes, what they do, which brushes you need. So I think that one will be really fun. That was a big question that I got as well. So like I said, we're going back to basic, really explaining things as in-depth as I can. And don't worry, I will be posting tutorials along the way as well. If you're wondering, I did film a tutorial on how to get this makeup look. Wait a couple days and that video will be up after this one. If you know somebody who could use a little extra help with their makeup vocabulary, please send this to them. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope I got as many makeup terms in this video as I could. Hopefully it's not too long. I'm really bad at cutting my videos down. I'm getting better at this YouTubing thing. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something today, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.